So, with the NBA season now officially in the books, we have now moved on to the NBA playoffs, which is tomorrow. So, some exciting action and some unfortunate downfalls for teams that aren't making the playoffs, mainly for the Phoenix Suns and the New York Knicks, who fell short of playoff contention. So, this is the second time in 20 years that both the Celtics and the Lakers will miss the playoffs, but the first time in history that them two, including now the Knicks, have all missed the playoffs for the first time in NBA history, but the second time for Lakers and Celtics since the 94 season. How unfortunate is that? It is hard to believe, but for the Celtics, let's just call a spade a spade. This was not a season meant for the Celtics, as they were not planning to be a playoff team for what it seemed like. I don't know if they were planning to make the playoffs, but it was a rebuilding because they got rid of their veteran starters like Garnett, Terry, Pierce, and other types of transactions for other players, as Sullinger, Bass have moved up to being starters, especially for Brandon Bass now becoming a starter himself. Humphries and Wallace kind of getting into the mix now, and then they try to continue the rebuilding during midseason as Jordan Crawford by surprise got traded, and Rondo didn't have Jamal Crawford as another side for their team. So, for the most part. Another side on the news now, so far for the Lakers, as they did have suffered with injuries, which is the reason they haven't made the playoffs, as they did reach their most losses in franchise history of 55 losses. Last time they were before their worst playoff losses they had was they were 19-53 before they had the full 82-game season. So I don't know what happened from there, but they had 53 losses. Last time they missed the playoffs was 10 years ago in the 2004-2005 season, where they were a 34-48 team. That was the last time they missed the playoffs, and that was when Shaq, Peyton, and who else? Ori and Fox all departed from the Lakers, and it was left for Bryant Malone, so they did tons of trades, and then they got the new coach, Rudy Tomjanovich, with also Phil Jackson departed from the team, and I can't forget, I don't know if I said Shaq already, for the most part. So it's been almost every decade that the Lakers missed the playoffs, at least 1 year every decade, and then for the Knicks, they only made the playoffs 3 times in their last 13 seasons, which is slightly disappointing. So, for the most part, as I think the last couple of times they did make the playoffs, as they were indeed a 7-seeded team. I think that was one time they did make the playoffs by surprise. So, with the Knicks, surprisingly, one of the good playoff teams from there, it is unfortunate that now they are not a playoff team this year, which is unfortunate. That, after their crushing season with Isaiah Thomas being coach of the team, and having one of their worst seasons, actually the worst season. Year before that wasn't that great either, but this was the worst season as Isaiah Thomas fell short 23-59 and having their worst defeats in franchise history, as they did were on their obliged to fire Isaiah Thomas, which is quite unfortunate. Apparently, the Knicks have missed the playoffs. They fell short of 8th seed after a disappointing season, which is unfortunate. But one thing I could say is that, I don't know how the Knicks are going to regroup. It seems like Carmelo Anthony, Stoudemire, Bagnani may be in jeopardy of leaving the team, and Mike Woodson, but I'm going to go ahead and call spade a spade. I don't think Carmelo Anthony has been leaning on the decision of staying with the New York Knicks, because in all honesty, the Knicks, Carmelo Anthony and Knicks, I don't know how he's going to co-op with Phil Jackson being part of the president of basketball operations, but they could have had a strong winning streak. It looked like they were on the road to making that 8th seed, but unfortunately it fell flat, as the Hawks, for their 5th straight season, have made the playoffs, which has been rose to being one of their best seasons so far. So, one thing I could say is, I know this isn't good news for me to talk about, but for the most part, I could say, I don't know what's going to be next for either one of those 3 teams, but it looks as if the Lakers may head for quick recovery. If Nash, Bryant, and Gasol could get back in recovery immediately, as with Nash departing from the team, as with Nash remaining with the team for another 4 years, they need that championship. I feel like it's time for them to win it if they were to get Fisher back, because they got all the championships with Fisher. With Kobe Bryant getting all championships with Fisher and Phil Jackson as being part of the coach. So how is the chemistry going to work? I am still not sure, but it is disappointing that Kobe Bryant was hurt and their short stack squad. But now they got Brooks, as they did trade for Steve Blake of some sort. So it's going to be a little surprise. I can't wait to see what goes on from there. But I'm intrigued with what may happen from there. So thank you guys for the review, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace out.